in favor, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of October 22nd.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, after the last one, okay, gotcha.
Make a motion to pay the bill for 112.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Water update.
Doing good. Started flushing today. Very few hydrants are dirty.
Good. When do you think that's gonna,
Huh?
when do you think that's gonna be finished?
Thursday.
Thursday?
Yep.
And then when are we gonna start on? Never mind, it's next.
We got it flushed, but we haven't lubricated them yet, so we'll go back and do that.
Okay. Larry Shelley here? No. Morgan,
Yes.
you have the floor.
I'm here because on November 6th, I hit a hole on Chestnut Lake Street. A pretty big hole that, did some damage to the front end of my car. The two new tires have belts broken and that need to be, tires need to be replaced. Stretson and Aorns, I think it was, I went and got an estimate in Ellisville, and the copy of that's been submitted to you guys. They told me not to drive it, so I've been borrowing vehicles for the past week.
We have to get a whole B&T,
And we have to get a hold of B&T, the people that did the
big time
work.
roads.
Yeah, the hole wasn't covered, filled, wasn't taken off or anything, so.
Well, I'm sorry for the inconvenience. Good.
That's what we do with contractors on that.
Yep. Yes.
Can they put a cone right there by the grocery store, that big hole right there? Can you put an orange cone out,
Which,
that big concrete, where they got it already roped off? Could you put a cone out there, cause that way people can see it at night?
yeah, we can do that tomorrow, right? This evening. Okay.
You can't see it, can you come
No.
There's a circle on up Main Street that's just got sticks and yellow tape,
Yeah.
that you can't see to the right
Street
on.
north.
Some of them got cones in, some of them just got the yellow tape
They
around.
only have so many cones, the asphalt company, and we only have about 4.
Do we have any available?
Yeah.
Old Main, is that where it's at? Right by the grocery store?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, I walked by there yesterday.
They just done it
It is
today.
done today.
Oh, okay, I walked by there yesterday.
Right there by the bakery.
Yeah.
Don't go up by the school. That's what it's called.
Nice street up there.
And North Street.
Now I came back north.
I mean, if you got orange tape, it'd help.
They fixed that, it was nice and smooth. There was holes.
Right, yeah.
Tonight it's fixed.
I do have a question, how will I know any updates or anything of that sort for when you or whoever you need to know?
Probably call town hall,
Yeah.
cause we'll stay in touch with Wanda. She's your friend face behind the window.
I'm sorry, I probably wasn't very nice that day on my schedule.
You're fine.
Funny that.
Yes.
I was like, what a way to start a Wednesday morning on your way to the OB appointment.
Any day, any day. Okay.
Just keep in touch with Martin, obviously.
Do you want me to give you a couple days? Like,
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit before we can get an answer for you.
Get a reply back.
how long's a little bit? Cause like I said, I'm borrowing vehicles.
Well, Travis will be in town late, tomorrow morning. Do you want me to talk to him about it?
Yeah,
Okay, will do.
and then get a hold of Chase, yeah.
Chase can do his thing to get it.
Yep. Well, I have Chase's phone number. I can call him straight up, but,
Do those documents scanned?
uh-huh.
I would email Chase those documents, yeah.
Alrighty. Kip siding stuff, are you asking for a one-time adjustment on 147 East Main and 236 North 8th Street?
He's not really asking for a one-time adjustment,
No.
he's just asking for an adjustment.
Oh. So has he had more than one time adjustment?
No, but there's been several people ask if they would give him a discount because of having to flush the dirty water out of the lines, and I think he was told to flush your line, wasn't you? But none of them's been hit yet. I mean, it shouldn't take just a couple, 5 minutes to flush the dirt out of it.
Right.
Yeah, I looked at the instruction sheet that's passed out with the water filtration pictures, and then this is standard with, it's about 5 minutes for just a house that's closer to the road, and then if there's a house further back and it's a larger house with more plumbing inside, they usually say 10 minutes, and if you do, it depends, 3 to 5 gallons a minute, I mean, it's pretty minimal compared to a 4,000 gallon, it's, for 10 minutes, that 5 gallons a minute, if that's a pretty big hose or having multiple faucets on, it's not very many gallons, it's 50 gallons. But it just depends on, it's usually fairly minimal compared to the water bill, but, that's, depends on, what.
Did it go higher than his average? Yeah, it's a little bit, but.
Just a little bit, not enough to, do much. It's just very minimal.
Unless they had other things going on at their house that required other water usage. The water flushing of the line, like I said, the instruction sheet says 5 minutes, or if you have a larger house, it says 10 minutes.
Yeah, he's saying that he was asked to flush for 2 hours.
Who asked him to do that?
Someone from B&T, I guess.
That'd be one of the construction guys, I imagine.
No, the instruction sheet we have says 5 minutes and 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Was none of us did that, I
No.
And unless there was something else going on at their home that required water usage,
If it run longer than 5 minutes on him, he shouldn't have run his bill up that much.
It's not that much. How many gallons does it say that he used?
Takes that long to fill a washing machine.
One of them was 4,100 gallons and the other was 4,300. I shouldn't have talked.
No.
4,143.
Well, the minimum's 3,000, so you're looking at the cost of 1,100 gallons and 1,300.
It just took him up past the 3,100, so it put him at, I'd say what is it for the first phase? It's 11 something.
That is a one-time adjustment for a period of 1 year, so.
That's not a leak. It's not a leak, and if he was asked to flush his line, I don't know how you could say, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and.
Say yes to him and no to somebody else,
Just open a can of worms up there.
Yeah.
You have everybody here wanting.
Kinda have to expect this kind of thing once in a while with your water. Not gonna be perfect for a lifetime.
With the project we got going on.
And it is an improvement project.
I think one of us can talk to Kip about this.
The ordinance says it's for,
Yeah.
So you wanna talk to him about it? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not,
I didn't come see me.
yeah, I'm gonna come see you, and you'll go talk to Ernie.
Just ready to pay his bill.
Sewer,
They were all good. doing well. Dave is, I don't know what you call it, wasting the plant every day, so we've had far fewer high water alarms.
That's what I was gonna ask, are the alarms going down now?
I've had one since Saturday.
What do you do with your time?
Huh?
What do you do with your time? You don't sleep all night, do you?
Huh?
You don't sleep all night, do you?
When the alarm doesn't go off, I do. Yeah.
Was Dave able to fix that, timer where it wasn't running 24/7?
Yeah.
He was?
Cool. That saves electricity.
Yeah, precision controls came out, that was Labor Day, or Veterans Day,
Veterans Day.
and worked all day, and he got everything squared away.
Okay, good.
So,
How soon will the generator be running in there?
waiting for a lower radiator hose,
Oh, wow.
lower radiator hose,
So the radiator seems to be good.
radiator's good, upper hose is good, and I believe they put a new thermostat in it today.
No, they got a price on a thermostat today.
Oh, they did?
Thermostat for it's about $80.
How much?
About $80. And I say if you're gonna go through all that,
Yes.
might as well put it in.
Alright, streets update.
Mary, before you get on streets, we know you guys planning on doing that.
When that other hose gets here, cause it needs to be put on the radiator before we install the radiator, cause the way it runs down, you can't get your hand out.
Have any idea when it,
I will check tomorrow on my email to see when they shipped it and see how long it's gonna take to get here. Cause I ordered them both at the same time and one of them ain't here yet.
so when you guys do that, I like for Vic and Scott to be down there to help you put that back in and everything.
Oh, yeah, that has to be.
And make sure you get that muffler fixed,
I don't know if they got the parts for that yet or not.
cause we don't need it back like that radiator was.
All it is going towards the radiator.
All that radiator just stopped up the set,
It needs to be run up through the roof or something.
up through the roof or out the back.
Yeah.
That all needs to be done at one time.
They just circulate inside the building all of a sudden.
What's the beeping that goes on down there? Beeping?
What now?
What is the beeping that goes on down there?
She lives on First Street,
Yeah, I
right?
live on First.
She lives over by the water plant.
Didn't know there was a beeping.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear a lot of things go on down there.
You probably hear the pumps a lot,
Yeah.
kicking on and off.
The way stations will beep. This one here has an alarm, and the one down at the bottom of the hill, First Street has an alarm. I haven't heard any beeping. That's the first time I've heard
I
of
hear
it.
stuff happening down there a lot.
Is there a certain time of day that you're hearing it or?
It could be, yeah, early and it can be late at night.
News to me.
I don't know if it's some kind of sound system down there.
I've never heard it, I've been around.
Well, yeah, when you live on, what street you live on?
At the other end of the water at the time.
Yeah.
There should be a light flashing at the same time on this station. So,
Cause I remember when there was water that dripped all the way over it.
this one will get full of rainwater and it'll go off.
It's an obnoxious steady buzz, isn't it?
Yeah.
Buzz, or it's not
Really
like a
annoying.
backup alarm, it's,
Really annoying.
yeah.
This is just a beep.
Yeah.
Just beep, 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 beep.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that is.
Yep.
Ain't nobody's ever said anything before.
I put something out there to listen for it, but I hear it.
Okay. Jill Curry, Community Crossings Grant?
Yes, so, we had a meeting last week, I think, with, Larry Lawler with our office who, is going to be desired assisting the town with submitting our paperwork items that are due by December 1st to the state in order to show what the town's pavement asset management and rating system is, so that you have sort of your grading of your streets set so that next year, if you decide to apply for a community crossings grant, then, you can apply for streets that receive lower grades on that pavement asset management plan. There's also a 5-year plan, and another document that need revised, submitted. And then there will be one community crossings round in January and one in June typically of next year. So, we provided a proposal for Larry to assist the town, with doing the 3 documents. He's kind of outlined the objectives and measures, the 5-year road treatment summary, the state and federal pavement inventory and condition. So getting all of those documents updated. Like I said, they're due by December 1st. Wanda, we've got, I think, logins now, so we're able to apply when we need to, if needed to. We worked with you guys on that. So the proposal is for the first eligibility documents, it's $3,940. I think he'd like to get that done by Thanksgiving. And then the second part, if you would desire in January to move forward, applying for plan for dollars and getting a funding plan in place, that would be $11,840 with final design to take place after you would get, the grant and in the future as we get closer to potentially getting the funding in place for the pavement. So I wanted to say, I think in my email I suggested the town consider this proposal and then also consider what roads would be priority potentially for next year. I sent a little map around showing, just internally discussing what had been graded from prior years plus other, we kind of sent you a map of some other streets. But we would want to know kind of what maybe some of your priorities might be for next year. That way before Thanksgiving here, we can go ahead and grade those roads at a lower rate so we know those are probably our priorities for funding next year. And then also, what funding, you don't have to know, but you should probably start considering your funding availability because the community crossings still requires a 25% match. And I will say these engineering fees don't count as part of that 25% match. So I wanted to point that out because, with limited funding, this is certainly something to consider.
This money just goes away.
Well, it gets you eligible to get the.
You have to buy your way in. Yeah.
You have to have an engineer to, you guys can come up with your own cost estimates if you want, but NDOT requires you to go to bid and you guys certainly can look at other options for that too. But we just wanted to provide your proposal, we helped you with it last year. And I will say it's a standard price. There are other towns that have a community crossings point person that does the work for the $39.40, and we only do about $1,500 to help that person. But they have to do all the legwork to go out and grade their roads and update those documents, and then we help kind of with some final items there. But there just wasn't a point person here this year, so.
So if we apply for it in January and we don't get it, is that gonna be 15,000 more from June?
No, because it's essentially the same application, you just turn around and submit again. And I suppose is the potential for not getting funded. I've seen most communities have a pretty high success rate at getting the funding. The county just got their latest round of community crossings last week or this week. I don't know if we've had anybody turned down, actually. I would have to ask. So community crossings is fairly available.
What is this to be negotiated in the future?
That's when the cost estimates, what you need in January is you need to be able to tell NDOT what your cost estimate is going to be. And that needs to be if you remember last time, we have to have a pretty budget close to what we think bids will actually be so that your local match covers what the bids will be. And it really depends on what your project is, but if you're looking at doing some additional sidewalks, if you're looking, it's preliminary design to put a good cost estimate together and you have to be able to have preliminary design details to present to NDOT to show them that you will be ready to go. Because if you find out in, let's say it's next March or April, if NDOT says, go ahead and make sure you're awarded, you have to turn around and immediately start getting ready to go to bid. Because those that got awarded last week, they have to have bids in hand and ready to award it by March, and it's November. So you've got like 3 months to go out to bid, and you got a month out to bid, you gotta have bids in hand. So that's why you have to do quite a bit for that 11,840 in order to really, once you get an award, quickly move forward with the final design. And that's those drawings, if you remember from last year, we had the actual drawings and the bid package. But you can certainly, and that's why I said the 3940 is gonna get you eligible. I mean, you're certainly, able to go find some, assistance elsewhere, so.
I don't remember recall paying anything up front in the last round. Would we, or would we?
No, so if you'll recall, Curry and Associates was merged with another company now, and they are pretty firm about trying to make sure we have agreements in place early to know, so you guys know what all of those are. At that time, I think it was, if you remember, it was a year ago, and Larry was doing the pavement asset management plan with David from our office. So Larry Norman actually did a lot of the legwork to do some of the pavement asset management plan piece, which is why I said that cost, that $39.40, can be reduced if there's somebody local who wants to do the legwork and some of the paperwork. But most towns don't of your size, but you have to go and make sure you can get through the documents and possibly take some additional calls with NDOT to get instructions on how to do that. So it's like I said, this is certainly the same cost we've given 7 other towns, I think, so it's just pretty standard. We did then, though, if you remember, have $15,000 for this project. And I would say that's probably slightly reduced because we were already here working on the water project, so there was some cost efficiencies probably just because David, who is our surveyor and engineer, he was already here doing a lot of legwork for the water project. So there were some efficiencies taking place that, there just may not be, and so now that's the proposal. I mean, the 3940 is what you do to keep eligible for next year, and you can certainly try and look at the documents yourselves and see if you want to update them, and then keep yourselves eligible for next year, and then consider that as the January round comes near, having a cost estimate of what you want to do, and you could talk to NDOT about that.
So after talking about funds for matching 25% of whatever it's going to be, we'll just pull that out, can we? We'll talk about it though.
Yeah, so again, December 1st is the due date to be eligible for next year, so you'll want to update those documents. Make sure and do that if you want to be eligible for any of the community crossings money next year.
What was the date you said, the deadline?
December 1st.
December 1st.
Yeah. I think I mentioned that in prior emails too.
So the negotiated prices on those 3 items, it's not got anything in there, will it vary depending on the size of the project?
It varies on the scope, yeah. So if you have a simple mill and overlay project, there's not a lot of design that goes into that. But if you tell us we're going to replace a sewer main here, I mean, you're not gonna do that, but if you wanna put a storm drain in right here, plus you wanna do all the sidewalks, plus it's actually full depth pavement repair, not just a mill and overlay, that just requires a lot more design by an engineer. So it depends, and sometimes we have a couple towns, one over in Morgan County, that have a road, they think it's literally, they need to do some boring to see what the depth of pavement is, to see if it's basically being undercut, so they need to know how deep they need to go and how much excavation needs to be done to repair that road. So that's why it can get complex. Maybe your issues aren't that complex, but, you know, it really depends on, what you wanna do.
So a $200,000 project is not gonna be twice of what a $100,000 project would be.
No, it's usually a percentage of what we think the construction cost will be, because we think the design complexity correlates to the overall cost complexity. A bigger project obviously has a lot more design involved, so that's why until we know what project we're doing, and I think the 11,840 will be to look at all of those roads on that map that you wanna prioritize potentially for next year, so we can do multiple cost estimates. If you remember, that's what we did last year, is we had cost estimate for this street, this street, this street, this street, and we figured out which ones we packaged together to meet our budget. So it could be that we have a lot of different, you know, 7th Street plus 5th Street plus whatever, 3rd Street. But we know that our budget is only gonna cover 7th Street or something like that, and we need to leave 3rd Street and 5th Street till next year, potentially, or second round, you know, it just depends on when you want to.
So is this a proposed map of?
Yeah.
Yeah, the priority areas potentially would be like dotted lines, and then the second or third priority ones might be the solid line ones. That was just based on driving around and kind of internal discussions. But it's certainly a rough map, and that's why we're open to your feedback, but I think we wanna make sure to rate the roads accordingly.
Well, we have a few days to think about this. Couple.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, cause Larry, I mean, November 27th is his goal date, and he would like to start getting the paperwork filled out and submitted. And similarly, there's a lot of towns that haven't done it yet, and most wait till November. So that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention, 2 other things if I can. There is, the water project, Lori sent over a pay application, and, it was later this afternoon.
Saw that a couple hours ago,
Yeah, so just if helpful, in case I'm not at your next meeting and you wanna push it till then, it came with this table which shows their, and I just wanted to show you how to read this table in case you weren't aware.
Or we should be able to write the check for this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is Lori's recommendation letter. It's printed in blue because I wasn't in the office and my home printers got moving. But you'll see that, the very bottom of the bottom lower right shows $622,000. $662, sorry. And then there's, right next to it is $141,000. So the 141 is what's still held in retainage. So that is still owed the contractor. The 642, is that 662 is what is remaining in the balance, but that still needs to be deducted from the retainage. Also, the pay application submitted only went through October 11th, and B&T was still here about another week and a half finishing service line. So this pay application they submitted wasn't through their last day, mostly in town. So there's still one more pay application B&T will be submitting for that last, say, week and a half or so, and then their retainage will need to come out. And then any change order items like valving, things like that, I think they're sending over a proposal if that you want them to install your water meters for you. I think actually they sent it over late. It's, I think somewhere in the $32,000 range is what they're sending over, but, we can have that for your next meeting. But, I mean, if you're comfortable approving the pay application tonight, Lori recommends going ahead and paying it. Certainly hold on a couple weeks if you need to review it, but I just wanted to kind of explain what your balances are there. So there will be obviously some remaining funds we anticipate, and I know we've talked about paying for water meters, paying for meter installation. We've still got maybe a valve and some other things that will come as change orders potentially. The process, if we do have remaining funds left over, we do have to file a PER addendum for like the meters, for example, with SRF, and tell them what we will spend remaining funds down on. So if we choose to do that, then, hopefully they'll have their next payout to us soon, so we can kind of know how much further those two balances. But it does look like there will be some remaining funds. We had some cost savings there in the project, so.
So it says payment amount is 1.1 million.
The recommendation letter says, and then there's certainly a portion of that held in retainage still. Yeah, that recommendation letter.
That's all. Okay. So I thought Ernie could write this check, but. Wow, okay.
You take any of this money, you pay for the other.
Oh, I don't think it'll work on the streets.
No,
It
it
won't
won't
work,
work.
but, I mean, I don't know. I've been in jail a long time.
Joe, have they give us a price on run the line from 8th Street over to Casey's? Yeah.
I don't know that they have. You want me to make sure they give us a price for that? Eighth Street over Casey's?
We were talking about that with Travis Chase, wasn't it?
Okay. I know they're sending, yeah, okay.
It was a 4 or 6.
I'll
Or
ask
maybe it
them.
was bigger than this, I was thinking 4.
Four over there?
Yeah,
Brian says there was a 4 over there. I thought it was a 2.
I just had a question on the service line project, because we didn't get a new service, but we understand we're out of town, and we'll have to provide our own, even though we were told we needed one. But we didn't get any new line from the main to the meter, and I don't know why.
You wouldn't have if you didn't any longer have what's called a lead gooseneck.
So if it
Well,
wasn't a
it's been there
galvanized
for
line,
like,
if it
it's
wasn't.
been there for over 50 years, I mean, the house was built in the 70s, and it's still the same line.
Yeah, I think, so we talked to the prior operators and they told us where they thought, all the goosenecks would have already been removed. And,
Because
you
the
know,
meter's at the top of the hill, it wouldn't have been all the way down Vermont Road.
yeah, so I don't know if they thought maybe Dan Dalton had replaced yours at one point already, maybe,
I've lived there 50 years, and I've never seen anything replaced.
when it was,
Dan, somebody done the gooseneck, then it just does the main
Mhm.
and replaced it at the main. And then it replaced the meter.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, it just, yeah, cause gooseneck's just right next to the water main. Yeah, and so, that's the best records we had was prior interviews with the prior operators and so we kinda had to base our estimates on that and choose. And there certainly are some locations where they caught hold and we thought there might be a gooseneck there and there wasn't. And so they did not do those lines, so, cause we didn't have to, cause
So we don't,
It was
don't think
already-
there's a pothole on hers or not? On her meter?
I don't know if I would have to ask, probably not, because we were told probably previously that it wasn't necessary. There are, so, you know, the lead was outlawed in 1987, and it really depends on the community on when they quit putting in goosenecks prior to that. So it could have been if it was in the 70s,
Right. The meter's been there since the 1970s, or 1950s.
yeah, so, but we had, that's how we prioritize folks, and
If we put a new line, I just don't want it to be into the lead line.
yeah, so that portion is the town's responsibility, from the main to the meter is the town's responsibility. So, you would just go to the meter if you needed a new line, so.
And yours is all the way uphill, is that what you're saying? It's,
Her meter is.
My meter's at the top of the hill at
Meter's
9th and
at the-
Main, yeah, so it's right there at the line, the main.
only like 9th Street, that far. I know where your farm is, I was just curious, I mean, that's a long way.
Yeah, it's like to the right of that drive, because
Okay,
otherwise it would have been in the middle of the drive, so it's just right to the right of it.
okay.
No, they wouldn't have gone.
Replacing from the meter to your house then, or?
Oh, I guess we'll have to replace it because they didn't.
Are you thinking
We
of
were under
doing
the
that?
assumption they were, but they didn't.
Okay.
So I guess,
Because it's out of town, kind of
So
like.
did you
the
do anybody's
line is
out of town?
here.
No, because most of the lines going out of town, because they're either already plastic, a lot of these are already plastic, and they wouldn't have used. And so, yeah, a lot of the lines out of town, or they were at a time where, prior operators who have excavated at those water mains told us they had not seen goosenecks for those. Because they're just newer, they're newer than the oldest parts of town, which are 20s, 30s, 40s.
Morgan, do you need to go home?
It's okay.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it's foolproof, but we had to be able to, listen, and that's part of when the state allows you to do your inventory of where there's lead, one of the selection options is operator interview, to know where they have seen what they have seen. Now, it's not foolproof, I won't say that you'll never see a gooseneck anywhere in this town again, but we did try and check everywhere that we had good credible evidence
I
that,
do quite a few.
yeah,
so I know they changed at the house that sits there,
yeah.
but not the meter that's next to the house. That goes to our house.
Sorry. So there's a master, it must be a
Yeah.
master meter at the top of the.
But your line was, that house, has it been served only since the 70s too, or? That you said the house next to it where there's a meter, has that only been served since the 1970s, or was that served probably prior to the 1970s?
It's right prior to this too.
So, I mean,
But the house we live in was from 1950, like 70 years.
but it didn't get service there until the 1970s.
No, 1950s
Your house
that we lived in.
had a meter installed in
It
1950,
had water in the 1950s.
or
That's
was it
when
on a well?
built.
Do you think it was on a well, or?
They never had a well.
Okay. I don't know, so, we have
I
our,
was just curious.
we have our records of who, we talked to kind of indicate that they thought had previously been completed. Yeah. And a lot of those out of town, like I said, because it's out of town residents, typically probably weren't part necessarily of the original system, of the original water system, so.
I'm gonna make a motion that we table the community crossings grant at this moment, and we'll, before our next town board meeting, discuss it more.
See where our funds are,
Yeah.
I'll second
and then we'll get back, we,
All in favor?
Aye.
Fire update.
All the trucks have been fixed, as far as we know, so they're in pretty good shape.
Did we ever fire one that really made noise?
Oh, yeah, Harrigan donated a set of newer first tools to us we received last Tuesday. Yeah, Wednesday,
Did you ever figure out what the noise was when you backed the tanker into the station?
No, I've not driven concrete yet.
Okay. I didn't know if it was something obvious where the floor shifted from the wall or something, or.
The floor in the current building that we're in,
Yeah.
where it popped, no, I have not drilled the floor to see if there's a void or anything in there yet.
Everything fell in here.
Yeah, well, it doesn't.
No old business, how about new business? Selling beer in the park during festivals.
Who wants to sell beer in the park?
Well, I'm not sure, but we were told that it's been going on for the past 2 years. And our insurance is going to drop us.
I don't think it was beer, it was
What was it?
alcohol.
Well,
Well, I mean,
beer is alcohol.
yeah, I mean,
You know,
and then it's actually selling it.
yeah, that's what we were told. That's what we were told.
Was they selling it, Ron? Okay. Ronnie knows.
that was
I mean,
year before last.
year before last?
Yeah.
Cause we sat there on the buggy and son-in-law asked me, he said, "You wanna drink?" I said, "Sure."
Got a
He
tavern.
just walked out there and,
Got a
If they're
tavern
selling,
and a VFW.
if they're selling it there, then they're hurting the tavern and the beef. So I say we don't let them sell it in the park.
Yeah, I don't think there's any ordinance ordinance that says they can do it, they have to have a
Right,
permit for
they have
that.
to have a permit for it, and nobody,
We don't have that designated area.
and nobody came to us for a permit.
Right.
I mean,
So I don't know about this year, they did or not, I know the year before they
but
did.
we can keep them from doing it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, to tear down.
What?
Down in the tavern.
Like
It was
that.
in the park.
I'll go to the tavern and to the meeting and it'll help them, that's the person.
I know, as Mike said, Keisha has a sign up, or Donnie said Keisha has a sign up at the bar, no alcohol beyond this point,
Yeah.
Out the door.
out the door.
You ain't allowed to carry it out.
I think you'd have an issue with underage people.
Yes,
You ain't allowed to carry it out of the V, or you ain't allowed to carry it out of the tavern.
right,
Right, and I don't think CJ's does it either, I think you're in the tap room, and that's it, it doesn't even come out.
Yeah, it don't even come
I
out.
guess you can go over here at the table, but it still doesn't.
Yeah.
it doesn't leave, it doesn't leave the,
So you need to put that in a motion and vote that there's to be no alcohol in the town park.
Yes.
It's not a bad idea, yeah.
make a motion that there is no alcohol allowed in the town park.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I guess then if somebody is selling it, and we do in fact have a town marshal at that time, we can
We will,
enforce the,
yeah. And that's probably why they haven't, they've been selling it.
last night.
We were sitting right by them, that's making a killing off of it.
Good drinks.
So the motion, no beer, no
Yeah,
alcohol.
no alcohol. Beer is alcohol.
I'm gonna put in here, no beer or alcohol.
Okay, you do that. Is that it?
Have you found out anything else about the marshal?
Unless you're a part of the town.
Oh, that's true, I mean, with a straw and a sippy cup or something, I think we're okay, but she videos.
When are we going to put out applications for the marshal?
We kind of need some information of how many hours is expected, how much pays to be paid. Is there gonna be any benefits? I mean, I'm assuming that it'd get, starting out with a 20-hour,
20 hours.
so it wouldn't be like holidays or vacation
No.
days or sick days or, okay.
Do we have a job description already for that position? We'll ask,
I thought you guys talked about it a while back about it.
yeah, we should get forward making it happen, it's
Yeah.
just, all those details have to be ironed out. Details, money.
I think we need to get one because we got some people living underneath, down at the depot and stuff.
Yep, I heard that. There's a couple, I think, right?
Have we put anything out for the fall? Good. Well, maybe we'll get,
So, sit down and talk about.
I'd say get it
Yeah.
done.
You guys been talking about it, need to.
Well, we'll make a little bit of progress by finding out how much it's gonna cost. 20 hours a week, at $15 an hour, I'm sure we can come up with some money. But we didn't wanna advertise a position, and then when they say, well, is it full-time, or is it, well, we don't know. What's it pay? Does it pay $22 an hour? No, it pays 15. So, at least we
It's
got some
only 20
information.
hours a week.
Okay. Probably between now and the next meeting, I'll try to get something to throw together for a salary ordinance for next year. Has the council had any thoughts on percentages or, increases?
Need to get something put together, and get an advertisement.
Well,
I brought the one for the-
Once you advertise, then it'll be so long to come back. If we don't get anybody, with the ones we got already that we know about, then we're gonna hire them. But you gotta get it started, you gotta get it done. We'll sit around here till next year and still not have one.
do you have any ideas on the salary ordinance for next year?
No,
A lot of little towns,
I think we give them too much this year, didn't we? No, I'm kidding.
a lot of towns are looking at 4%.
Before, I think Terry can back me up, 3%. Was that it, what we done?
You were doing 3%, but that was when inflation was only 2.5.
Yeah,
Different times.
suggestion.
We ain't back in the seventies and nineties and stuff.
What would you be your recommendation, Terry? What percent?
I would think that with inflation running the way it is now, probably in the 4% to 5% range.
You think we'll get that on Social Security?
Pardon?
You think we'll get that on Social Security? It'll be 3%.
I think that for Social
No.
Security.
matter on Social Security.
We should. It's 20% inflation.
It's based on the
Clothing.
year to year
Yeah.
as opposed to what it's actually increased over the past 4
Yeah.
years.
I don't know. 4%?
I know cost of living's a lot higher.
It is.
People are paying
It
a lot
is.
of money for rent and
What did you say?
the cost of living has gone up a whole bunch of recently. The cost of rents,
Yeah.
even here in town, are outrageous.
Yeah.
No, that's not what I'm going for. I just know somebody's paying like $1,800 for a little house.
Are you kidding?
So what's your percentage?
Everybody needs to do it.
Maybe times what you're making now.
I thought we would sit down and find out what was available to do, with our treasurer, to find out what's doable, what's not doable, instead of going, yep, I think everybody needs to get a $10 raise.
Yes.
Hey, if we had the money to do it, sure, but I don't think we do. So, it'd be nice to, cause I don't know the numbers, I don't know what we have in there. I know. We just need to sit down and talk about police and
Yeah.
streets and we need to get increase.
Why don't I look at that 4% and a 6%? And that way at least you got two to start out with to kind of compare and then go from there.
Okay.
Because the marshal will be coming out of the general fund. I'm not thinking about water or sewer or stormwater.
Set the meeting then.
Yeah. Let me see.
Get to talking another time.
Hang on. I'm available next Monday. Are you available next Monday?
Probably.
It's the 18th.
I don't have anything on the page.
9 o'clock?
Sure. Get those on.
Yep,
9 o'clock?
Yep.
Okay,
town hall.
okay.
Do I need to make a motion for that?
Probably, because this will be was it considered a work
Work
session?
session?
What would this be called?
Would that be considered a work session?
We want to talk about salaries, police, and streets.
Be a work session, be a public work session, not be an executive session.
So the public could come if they want.
Public can come up and
Okay. Make a motion that we have a public work session on November 18th at Town Hall at 9 a.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's open to the public?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else? Meeting adjourned. Oh,
Second.